So now with that small announcement, we go into the last paper for the day. How does emotional regulation during contemplation nurture us? Findings from a hermeneutic analysis of a popular Hindu spiritual text, Jnaneshwari. So it's presented by Kavya Moth, Mrigakshi Bhave and Dr. Arun Pratap Singh ji. Please, over to you.
Vakratunda Mahakaya, Surya Koti Samaprabha, Nirviknam Kurume Deva, Sarva Karyashu Sarvada. We salute our Supreme God Ganesha, who has curved trunks and whose radiance is equal to 1,000,000 suns. May you bless our endeavors and remove all obstacles from our path. A very good evening to one and all present here. I am Kavya Moot from the Department of Contemplative and Behavioral Sciences, second year, Sri Sri University.
Hello everyone, I am Mrigakshi Bhave, also from the Department of Contemplative and Behavioral Sciences, Sri Sri University, second year.
The topic of our research paper was how emotional regulation during contemplation nurtured us. Findings from a hermeneutic analysis of a popular Hindu spiritual text, Jnaneshwari. Jnaneshwari, also known as Bhavartha Dipika, was written in 1290 AD by Sant Jnaneshwar, a great philosopher poet from Maharashtra, India. It is believed to be one of the source of ultimate realization. We have used the hermeneutic analysis of this commentary to bring out theoretical underpinnings regarding the dynamics of emotional regulation to nurture ourselves. We notice that the alterations in emotional regulation happens through a graded flux in identity and motives and leads to the realization of consciousness as an essence of our being. The same is further analyzed and presented in this PPT and our paper. Sant Jnaneshwar, at the age of 16, wrote this commentary on Bhagavad Gita in Marathi on the instructions of his guru and elder brother, Nivruttinath. The knowledge of religious texts, which was previously only available to Brahmins and the upper castes and was only in Sanskrit, was made accessible to the general public. Jnaneshwari includes 18 chapters written in poetry format in stanzas of 4 lines known as Ovi. Sant Jnaneshwar has used several similes and examples from nature and the day-to-day activities of the common readers of those days to aid comprehension. At the age of 25, Sant Jnaneshwar walked into a stone-walled room in Alandi and passed away in Samadhi, the state of spiritual liberation, in 1296 AD. The room has still not been opened till date, and Alandi became a revered place ever since. After several hundred years of taking Samadhi, Sant Jnaneshwar and his word is still worshipped and studied fervently by thousands of people in Maharashtra. Now let's look into what is emotional regulation. Emotional regulation can be defined as any action, conscious or not, that either alters the balance and intensity of a current emotional experience or is initiated for the purpose of altering future emotional experiences. It usually involves downregulation or lowering the strength of feelings and upregulation or amplifying one's emotions. According to James Gross's process model of emotional regulation, people can act to control their emotions at various points in their lives, including before they feel an emotion, also known as antecedent-focused emotion regulation, and after they have already begun to react emotionally, that is emotionally focused, response-focused emotion regulation. One very common emotional regulation strategy is the cognitive emotional regulation strategy, which refers to how people think about how to deal with their emotions in response to eliciting events. Cognitive reappraisal, which involves utilizing cognitive and linguistic processes to reframe or reinterpret the meaning of a stimulus or circumstance in order to up or down regulate emotions. For example, one may interpret the significance of a terrible occurrence in terms of personal development, or one may highlight its negative features. The Eastern paradigm has also given a few strategies for emotional regulation, which are as follows. Number one is Maitri, the unwavering acceptance accompanied by a deep sense of gratitude. Number two is Karuna. It is a Sanskrit word which means compassion. It is the desire and the ability to alleviate and transform pain. When we are open and able to fully observe suffering and are compelled to do something about it, we experience Karuna. Number three is Mudita, which means joy. True love provides joy, and mudita is the pleasure we find in the simple things in life. And number fourth is upeksha, or an attachment. It is the ability to feel a connection fully without clutching or possessiveness. Now I pass on the stage to Mrugakshi.
Thank you so much, Kavya. Moving on, let me just change the slide. Yeah. So in this paper, we are talking about Jnaneshwari with reference to the emotional regulation. We have selected few verses, or the OVs that we call in Maharashtra, from chapters 1 and 2, Arjuna Vishada Yoga and Samkhya Yoga respectively, from Jnaneshwari itself, which talks about Arjuna being overwhelmed with his emotions on the battlefield and how Krishna helped him to regulate those emotions during various techniques. In all the Hindu traditions, we start any good event with the blessings from Ganesha. Sant Jnaneshwar also starts compiling Jnaneshwari while taking the blessings from Ganesha. He says, Om Namoji Adya Veda Pratipadya Jai Jai Swayam Vedya Atmarupa. Salutations to the Vedas' descriptions of the Supreme Being allow the self-known one, the pure nature of the self, to rise to victory. Sant Jnaneshwar has beautifully described Ganesha and his greatness for everything he has provided. Coming back to the conversations that happened in between Arjuna and Krishna, Arjuna could see all his seniors, grandparents and teachers, his maternal uncles, and not just them, his sons, his friends, brother-in-law, and everyone over there. And the thought of fighting with them, against them, with his loved ones, made him feel extremely helpless. Here, Sant Jnaneshwar gives very beautiful similes. Sant Jnaneshwar says, as a highborn woman, virtuous and beautiful, cannot tolerate another woman superior in these qualities, or as an attracted man enraptured by another woman, forgets his own wife and recklessly pursues his passion, or as a man who has been practicing the self-punishment achieves the spirituality, the Arjuna has completely lost his manliness. Moving forward, after looking in the situation, Arjuna says that येणे नावेची नेणे काही मज आपणपणे सर्वथा नाही मन बुद्धी ठाई स्थिर नोहे. Arjuna here thinks himself, all of these warriors are gathered here ready to battle. The mere concept of it frightens him. His mind has almost lost its equilibrium. He says, my limbs tremble, my mouth becomes dry, my body trembles, and all my hair stands to the end. My Gandiva, that is my bow and arrow, slips from my grasp, and my flesh burns all over. I am not able to maintain my balance. My thoughts are racing. He says that though his heart is tougher than adamant and heroic, his lunacy is even more powerful. Moving forward, Krishna also replies him, हृदयाचे ढिलेपण एक निकयासी नवे कारण हे संग्रामी पतन जाण क्षत्रियासी. The three planets are small in comparison to you, O Parth. Such all is your heroism. Arjuna, the compassion has completely weakened you. Is it possible for the sun to be swallowed by the darkness? Is the wind afraid of the clouds? Pay no attention to these worthless ideas. Instead, wake up and take courage. Get rid of this silliness. Rise and take your bow. Is pity appropriate during the battle? He suggests that pity, please wake up from the illusions of your mind and fight for what is yours. We'll go to the analysis part of the Jnaneshwari. The above conversation between Krishna and Arjuna on the battlefield of Mahabharata in Gyaneshwari states that just before the commencement of the war, Arjuna felt anxious and suffered panic attacks because he was not ready to fight with his close relatives. He was greatly influenced by Asmita, that is fear, just before Mr. Abhinav explained as the 5 kleshas. So here I have mentioned the Asmita and also the Raga, that is the attachment of emotions, 2 of the 5 kleshas. The root of cause of the suffering. Kleshas are obstacles in the path of yoga and an obstruction to the reach to the state of yoga. Arjuna was engrossed with his fleeting emotions that were stopping his inner potential. And in order for Arjuna to realize his duties, Krishna used various techniques to motivate him to fight against the adharma. Krishna stated that the sense objects give rise to the fleeting emotions, such as misery as well as happiness. And the only way for one to reach self-realization is to not to succumb to those emotions. He also stated that only the material body is perishable, the embodied soul is permanent and is indestructible. What you are going to kill is just the material body. You cannot destroy the permanent soul because it will always exist even after death. So he asked Arjuna to go and perform his duty.
In order to regulate the emotions, Krishna used positive affirmations that made Arjuna aware of his strengths and capabilities. Krishna also states about following the path of dharma, duty and righteousness to uphold, to sustain. He says, if you follow a little bit of dharma, it will save you from great danger. He talks about the mind behavior. Whatever the mind mulls over, it leads to attachment and desires. When the desires are not met, anger rises. When we are deluded with the Muda, one of the 5 states of minds where the mind is dull, sleepy, lethargic, and lacks alertness. Before arriving on the battlefield, Arjuna was determined to take revenge for all the insults that the Pandavas and Draupadi, the wife of the Pandavas, faced. However, just before the war could start, he lost his ahamkara, his I sense, and his ego, which considers itself to be distinct or a separate entity. His stand changed from taking revenge to feeling like he did not even deserve the victory because he was surrounded by overwhelming emotions. While Krishna was advising Arjuna, he stated that Arjuna was overwhelmed. While Arjuna was speaking of wisdom, he was mourning for something that was not even worthy of grief. Our senses give rise to constant happiness and distress. Nothing is permanent. We are constantly facing we are constantly facing different situations around us, and it is the nature of us human beings. While we focus on the contradictory thoughts of Arjuna, Krishna further explains that even if self or the soul was subject to constant birth and death, even then this situation was not worth grieving over. In this way, Krishna was aligning with the thoughts of Arjuna. As we conclude, we'd like to put it out there that this is actually currently an ongoing study on Gyaneshwari, written by Sant Gyaneshwar. And in this paper, we aimed to contemplate on the regulation of emotions and self-nurturance that would provide us insight in our day-to-day lives. The complete analysis of this study is, as of now, is not completed. And in the previous slide, the references of our paper has been mentioned, and these are the contact infos, and if anybody has any questions, we're open to it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity and having us. We're truly honored.
Thank you very much for the presentation. We don't. So there is a question: how many movies have you analyzed?
Yes. So our main aim was to, since the topic talks about emotional regulations and self-nurturance, we were finding the OVs from Jnaneshwari that would directly connect to the part of self-regulation and emotional regulation and self-nurturance. So nothing is more prompt than how Arjuna was feeling those emotions and how his emotions were fleeting. So we have analyzed that part. However, in the future, we are planning to study the whole Jnaneshwari and gain more knowledge and around emotional regulation to that. Thank you so much for this question.
Thank you very much, Kavya ji, Mrigakshi ji, and Dr. Arun Pratap Singh ji for the presentation. And with that, we come to the conclusion of the day's presentations. So day one of the conference on Hindu meditation traditions and techniques concludes here.